Those who use drugs just to get high are looking for that ultimate high, that euphoric feeling, kind of a bliss, a state of bliss. They're looking for an existence inside the mind where there's no more pain, no worry, no fears, no problems. Basically what they're really looking for is a heaven, but it's a heaven that's created by drugs. It's a false heaven. It's a false spiritual experience, and it can lead to death and hell because drugs are the ultimate spiritual deception. And that's just not my opinion. It's just a fact. And so what they're looking for is an existence that's free from pain and suffering. There's many forms of witchcraft besides the kind I was using, and in Paul's letter to the Galatians, he asked them, he said, "O foolish Galatians, who has bewitched you that you should not obey the truth?" Because false teachers were using their influence to make the Galatians believe that they needed to keep the laws of Moses with Jesus as a means of salvation. They were trying to manipulate them into believing a lie. This is witchcraft. It's a magical, irresistible influence over someone or something. It's the art or craft of trying to control other people or events to be outside of the will of God. You don't even have to be a witch to practice this form of witchcraft. Pause. Another form of witchcraft that I tried to expose, and this one really gets me in a lot of trouble. But nevertheless, when I speak about it, what I speak about is the medium of TV and movies. Just consider this. If you're high on drugs, your mind is susceptible just about to anything, especially if you're in the adolescent or formative years, young people. If you get high on drugs every night, which I was doing, and you watch and absorb all that hellish, ungodly lifestyles coming out of Hollywood night after night after night, what are you feeding your spirit? It's certainly not bread from heaven. Uh, what foundation are you building on? You could say like Paul said, "O foolish Americans, who has bewitched you that you should believe all that worldly, fleshly knowledge?" Paul warned them. He said, "Beware lest you are spoiled by vain philosophies." So this medium, this form of witchcraft, will not help you stand when the storms of life come. It's not the correct foundation, not the right building block. The images, these attractive lifestyles, uh, they will collapse when the storms of life come. Also, TV is the largest medium in the world, and it's the most widespread use of sorcery in existence today. The images and the imaginations that it projects into people's minds are shaping and molding many people into Hollywood's own image. Sadly, too many are receiving that image. It is just too many people. It is to many people an irresistible magical force that's used to manipulate a whole lot of people and events. If you don't believe me, just try doing without TV for a while. I'm sure there's a lot of good on TV, so you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. But nevertheless, it's there. So witchcraft, or the craft as it's called today, it can assume many forms and can be used in many different ways to accomplish its destruction. So understanding this form of witchcraft, perhaps you can now better understand the prophecy that's associated with sorcery and witchcraft. In Revelation's 18th chapter, verse 23, The Bible says that by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. And sorcery is interpreted from the Greek word pharmakia, which is this English word of pharmacy, which is taken from the Greek word pharmakia again. So pharmacy is used in the United States in its slang form of drug. So the word drug, sorcery, and pharmakia can all be interpreted as one and the same. So by the use of sorcery, or anything that constitutes sorcery, which would be any mind-altering experience, whether it's produced by a mixture of pills or the mind is altered through some other form of stimulation, this type of sorcery is a bewitching. It uses the interface of images on TV combined with drugs, which creates the ultimate spiritual deception. It's all interwoven together. The abuse of drugs combined with visual distortions, fantasy, is the very act that this prophecy is referring to.